Alright, it's time to switch things up. We're tired of giving you guys all our secrets. It's time you gave us some of yours. That's right, we asked our community over in the Discord to provide us with their own tips and tricks. Some of you guys have some crazy secrets and we're going to reveal the best ones in today's video. If you want to provide your own tips and tricks and have a chance of being in one of SkillCapped's videos, make sure to join our Discord and check out our channel titled Your Tips and Tricks. Post your tips and if we like what we see, we'll drop you into a future video. With that being said, let's get into the video and show off what you guys came up with. Before we get into it though, this video is just a snippet of what we provide. If you want a full detailed guide on how to improve in Valorant, then you want to check out our website at skillcapped.com. Our exclusive courses break down everything players need to know step by step to climb the ranks. Our simplified teaching style ensures that any player can understand and apply these concepts. The link will be provided in the description below. Now let's jump into the video. Starting things up, we have a tip from our very own Discord admin, Zombies. One of the strongest aspects of Raze's kit is movement. Her satchels let her move at insane speeds and distances. You've probably seen some insane double satchel rocket plays here before on YouTube, but what you don't see as often is players using the satchel in a simpler yet very effective way to reposition. When you're stuck in a bad spot, you can throw a satchel in front of you and immediately trigger it. This will push yourself backwards and can be useful when trying to dodge utility. This exact scenario happens against G2, and by using this technique, the player prevented himself from tanking more damage from Raze's grenade. Satchels can also be useful to get away from players too. In this clip, I go for a flank onto A main and immediately meet multiple players. I need to get out quickly or the enemy will catch me on my toes. Knowing my time is limited, I throw a satchel to project myself towards the right side of mid. Now when the enemy peeks top mid, I'm already out of there. Next time you're in a pinch, consider using your satchels to get out of a rock and a hard place. Next up, we have a 3-in-1 lineup from our community member Strike. That's right, this is a lineup that works with 3 different abilities: Viper's Poison Cloud, KO's Fragments, and Killjoy's Nano Swarms. The lineup is done in A main and when thrown will land right onto heaven. To perform this lineup, you want to back into the box in A main. Look towards the sky and you'll see these pointed spikes in the background. Place your crosshair in between the tips of these 2 spikes. From there, jump and immediately throw your utility when you get off the ground. Don't wait till the top of your jump or you'll miss. After that, just wait and voila, a nice nano swarm onto heaven. Like we mentioned, the lineup is the same for KO's Fragment and Viper's Poison Cloud. This is really good to use during a site hit. The mollies will force the enemy to back away from peeking the site, therefore giving space for you and your team to get into the site and plant. That or it forces them to expose themselves to the site with no escape route. This player would then be nearly guaranteed to be eliminated as he swings into several of your teammates. The idea is similar with Viper's Molotov. The main idea with this one is to force enemies to delay their push during the retake. This gives more time for the spike to tick and explode. Enemies can choose to push it, but they will take the K damage along with peeking out of a smoke. Not the wisest of decisions unless the enemy has an insane combination of abilities and peaks. If you play all 3 of these agents, this is the perfect lineup for you to learn. Put it in your favorites, and regardless if you're playing Killjoy, Viper, or KO, you'll have a sweet ability for A ready to go. Continuing with lineups, we have a sick molly lineup with Killjoy's Nano Swarms onto default in A. This was submitted by our homie Lil Bro Lukey. Try to have one of your teammates plant the spike so that you don't have to run all the way back to A main to do this lineup. To perform this lineup, back into this corner of A lobby. Now remember those spikes we used earlier? We're going to use the tallest spike to line up our crosshair. Once you have that, jump and immediately throw your Nano Swarm. This will land perfectly down into the default plant spot where you can then trigger it instantly so the enemies can't destroy them. It does take a good number of seconds for the Nano Swarm to land, so keep this in mind while defending the spike. You may not want to throw it too late where enemies can fully defuse or get to the halfway point. Otherwise it becomes much harder to defend. What works best is to throw your first Nano Swarm and then throw your second Nano Swarm shortly as the first one's about to land. By doing this, you'll be able to trigger the first Nano Swarm, and by the time that one's about to expire, the second one will be landed and ready to go. Last but not least, for Ascent lineups, we have one for Generator. Stand in front of this tiny box in lobby. From there, point your crosshair on the top part of the pole that's holding the flag. Jump and immediately throw your Nano Swarm. This will land right in Generator, and any players holding this position will be forced out into the open. Whether they run left or right, they'll have to expose themselves to A main and get caught into trouble. This lineup was also by Lil Bro Lukey. Thank you so much for your submission. Moving on from mollies, let's talk about some Omen one-way smokes on Ascent. What I'm noticing so far is you guys really like Ascent. This might just end up being an Ascent map guide. Here's our first one-way smoke that can be done on Cat. Precision is going to be key here. Use the top of double boxes on Cat as a frame of reference. Omen smokes have a green arrow indicating where the smoke is approximately going to be placed. Aim this green arrow as far to the bottom right corner of the boxes. From there, lift the smoke just a pinch off the ground so that it's elevated. The bottom outline of the smoke should be slightly above the bottom of the boxes. From there, let it rip. This Cat smoke prevents players from looking through Link, but most notably it blocks out vision of top mid as well. If If placed right, the enemy will only be able to see a sliver of top mid if they do a close peek. Otherwise, they'll be shrouded by the smoke and unable to see a thing. If they do go for an ambitious peek, it should be an easy kill due to the lack of vision that they have. Definitely give this one a try. Next, we have a one-way for middle. We're going to use the green arrow again as our frame of reference. Aim the arrow towards the head sculpture on the arch in middle. The placement can be a little tricky here. If you're not able to get the exact position with left and right clicks, try moving your player model with the W and S keys. Once you have the green arrow on the middle of the head sculpture, let it rip again. This smoke blocks off the enemy vision of top, mid, and cat. Enemies can crouch to get vision, but if they do so, it should be an easy punish as you'll already have seen them first. Plus, if they crouch, the enemy will be fully committed to the fight if they see you. If you have a teammate nearby, it should be easy pickings or at the very least an even trade amongst each other. Also, a fun fact about Omen by AXVII3. If you're attacking and the spike is down in an awkward position, use Omen's ultimate to get it. Teleport directly onto the spike and you'll be able to actually pick it up. From there, you can simply cancel your TP and voila! Spike obtained. Next time your teammate decides to go on a solo mission with the spike, you'll have an option of taking it back from the defenders. Just make sure you tell your teammates to never do that again though. Omen ultimates don't just grow on trees, you know? Alright guys, it's time we finally switch things up map wise. Sort of. This one is by Bidoof, the mind controlling god. Fracture is a very unique map in the sense that there are multiple entry points to get to the sites. There are so many choke points for the defenders to cover. Because of that, you should make use of that and push from multiple entry points as an attacker. Just like in any map, if you funnel into one choke point, it's easy for the defenders to take you down. All it takes is one smoke, one molly, or one slow orb, and your push is significantly delayed. The defenders also get the freedom of stacking that choke point to defend it. That means more players you have to face at once. If you push from multiple points, the defenders are forced to divide their attention. They have to split up their utility, meaning less delays for your team. Once the utility wears off, you and your team can split push and overwhelm the defenders from multiple angles. This concept applies to pretty much every map, but it's particularly important to do on Fracture as it's a highlighted aspect of the map. Don't let those choke points go to waste. We interrupt this broadcast to bring you a special message from Discord member lol.jpg. Please, for the love of God, shoot down sage walls. This is one of the easiest to do in the game, yet we see it neglected so often, particularly on a map like Split where mid control is so important. If middle is blocked off by a sage wall, you as an attacker only have A main and B garage to push off of. That means the defenders can simply stack the other remaining 2 choke points. You as an attacker also have to funnel through one of those 2 choke points, which now have multiple players staring it down. Not an ideal situation during a push. By allowing sage's wall to stay up, the defenders have less areas to worry about. It only takes a few seconds, but make sure you and your team break down that wall. Your team doesn't even have to end up pushing through the wall. Just by destroying it, the defenders have to rotate a player back to that choke point to watch it. The defense is now further split, which gives you an easier time of gaining map control and going for an eventual site hit. This is almost like a follow-up to our previous tip. You can't hit sites from multiple points if one of those points is blocked up. It only takes a few seconds, but please, break those walls down. Alright, this next one involves a bit of bullying, I'm not going to lie to you. This one's by our Discord member Lifeless. During your games, you should always be looking for any weaknesses that the enemy is showing. One of those weaknesses may be a particular player that is doing poorly. It could be that they're under the level of the rest of the pack, or perhaps they're just having a particularly rough day in the office. Whatever it is though, you want to exploit the heck out of that, particularly when you're on the attacker side. Find where the bottom fragger is playing and challenge them over and over. Usually you'll be able to win the fight with you and your team. That not only gives you a man advantage, but also significantly weakens the enemy's defense. Now you have more options on how you want to approach the round and eventually hit a site. Exploiting a poorly performing player is one of the obvious weaknesses that you can find in the enemy. However, be on the lookout for other weaknesses as well. Maybe the defense is weak on one site. Try to find how each player is positioned and plays. From there, see if there's any gaps or flaws that you can take advantage of. Alright, we saved one of the best for last. There is an insane off angle on Breeze that we haven't seen many players using. An elbow you can get onto this ledge by jumping off of these barrels. This position gives you access to the back of a lobby. Perfect for catching rotators or players that are just late and lurking. Enemies will barely be able to see you from their perspective. Unless they have inhuman instincts, there's no shot that they check this angle. Do be aware that you should only use this angle if you're certain every enemy is towards the A site. You will be exposed from middle as well as elbow and can end up being easy pickings due to the vulnerability of the position. That's all we have for today's video. Thank you for everyone who submitted their tips and tricks onto the Discord. If you haven't already, make sure to join our Discord in the description below so you too can stay up to date with the latest Valorant secrets. That's going to do it for us today though. As always, we here at SkillCapped want to thank you all for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.
That's all we got for our video today, but remember that if you're really looking to improve at Valorant, I highly recommend checking out SkillCapped.com. We get it. it. You're just a player trying to get better at the game. That's why you're watching this video in the first place. You're capable of hitting that rank you deserve. But there's no shame in asking for a little help. At SkillCapped.com, we spend hours going through viewer-submitted replays to let you know all the mistakes that you're making. We also couple this with our Smurf commentaries to show players that it is possible to carry themselves out of whatever rank they're stuck in. It might seem hopeless at times, but trust me when I say we can help you out. All you have to do is check out SkillCapped.com. Link in the description below.